Hey, tonight's shave is going to be with the usual, and this is the last time. This is the last day of August. And so we're going to switch to other gear and have fun, except I'll probably revisit this Nacet Blade because it's still going well for me. I may just see how many shaves I can get from it. So I'm going to get this wet before the shave, let it soak for just a few minutes in a little cup I have. And it's a Boar brush, 24 millimeter Boar from Whipped Dog. I've really been enjoying it. It is slow for the tips to split though. And so that's interesting. I may have to use a shortcut method. I may just keep using it. You know, they'll eventually split. I may switch to using it every other day, and that might, the full dry between 2 days might help those to split. With Austere August, I'm using the same set, including the blade, all month. And so it hasn't, the core, the root ball of it hasn't had a chance to fully dry. What else are we using? We're using the Blackland Dart, an amazing razor, stainless steel from Blackland. Its big brother is the Blackbird, and this is the machined version, so it has machined marks on it, especially some swirlies underneath the plate there. You can get its new version, I don't know, in a couple of months. That's going to be the polished version, so you can choose your finish. After the shave, we'll use Afta Fresh. I wish I would have gotten original. This one's a little feminine for me. The Nacet, as you can see, has been used 32 times. So today is 33. Farthest I've taken a blade by far. It did leave a good many, 2 dozen, maybe 2 dozen, maybe a dozen and a half. Of this little area, this trouble spot area right here, tips with a little bit of length that I could see, but in general it's still a very good shave otherwise. All right, so today's strategy is I found a really good yesterday and the day before. I found a really good cold water load formula. It was like a 60-second load. It was, I think, shake about 5 times. Take your brush out of the soaking cup, shake it about 5 times to get some of the water out, and then load for 60 seconds. And with no pre-soaking of the soap. And then that's why the 60 seconds. With a hot soak, you can do 10 seconds. And then you put it on your face, and you just keep brushing until that first pass kind of gets near the lather you want. Don't stop at the airy stuff. And then the second and third passes were very nice. So today we're going to step back to and that was really convenient, super easy, fast. But today we're going to step back to the hot soak, and that's just a 10-second load. And I am going to, I have on record one that was 4 shakes off the wet brush. I'm going to do 6 shakes to have less water. We'll see if we can get to creamy on this one. But I'm very happy. I believe that during most of this month, I have managed to get to where I wanted to in discovering several different ways to get to really great lathers from Williams. And this is without adding glycerin. You can go to the pharmacy or whatever and buy the little cheap bottle of glycerin, add 4 or 5 drops, and you can really change your Williams lather to be more luxurious. But this is without even doing any of that. All right, so it's been soaking now for 5 minutes, which is fine. The soap has. Okay, so what we'll do, we will take the hot water here and pour it out. You could use it to do a pre-wash of your face if you wanted to. And now I'm going to take my brush here, just kind of lift it out, tilt it to the side so the water could gather and kind of drip out. And then once it slows, we'll do 6 shakes. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, now, again, make sure this soap is empty too, the mug. All right, so this is a 10-second lather, and there we go. Won't take very long. I know it's creepy that I'm staring right at you. And there we go. 10 seconds, that's all it takes. It looks very airy on the brush. Don't sweat it. It looks very airy in the cup. Don't sweat that either. All right, and so I believe then just I get my face wet and go right at it. I have hard water. Dang it. Now, that's what happens when you knock your brush off of your tiny little sink onto the floor. I'm going to pause you, reset everything. All right, so now we're trying that again. I have drained and rinsed and cleaned out my brush, and I did my 10-second load again. My face is all moist and stuff, so let's just go ahead. I should have less. That's it. Yep, it's starting off kind of liquidy. Maybe I need to let go of some more water. I'm just taking this excess lather and putting it on my cup instead of having it drip down. This will start. Dang it. This will start to look better. Start to come together. Bubbles will start to reduce. It's one thing I don't like about the face lathering. All this mess. When you have excess lather on in your bowl, it stays in your bowl and it's all good. I haven't really seen any of the other video guys on YouTube, wet shavers, that kind of do this, pulling off of the lather. Kind of my own necessity is the mother of invention kind of thing, because otherwise it would just be wasted on my shirt. Let's take a look at it. Looks pretty good. A little bit of cushion. I do feel the ridges in my fingertips, but only just. That's pretty cool. That is a usable, enjoyable lather. Very different than what I first started out with. So basically, if you don't know what's going on here, instead of building up my lather in the bowl, I'm doing it on my face. And so the soap that has been imparted into the brush when I loaded from the mug, that is now combining with the water on my face and the water in the brush and building up to make a nice lather. All right, now when it kind of slows down in terms of all this lather coming together, then you've kind of equalized a little bit. All right, maybe that has happened here. So now we're going to switch to just painting motions because we're done with the cleaning and the like exfoliation kind of type of action. And one way to kind of check the status of your lather that I have kind of figured out, it seems to be reasonable, it seems to be predictable. You look at the furrows right there. I make a swap on my neck like this, and you've got, of course, on the edges of where the brush, it left wet lines. Ignore those. Just looked in the middle, and you've got kind of furrows, very small, narrow, but you can see the lines. And as long as they're not clumpy, if they're clumpy, you probably have a lather that's a little too dry, needs a little bit of water. Just rinsing off my brush handle here so that it is no longer, I don't no longer have to grip it with a death grip, to keep it from slipping out. All right, feels good. We'll even that out right there just a little bit. Here we go. August 31st. The month of Austere. Oh, good glide there. Good comfort. No drag. For me, the dart is right on my edge of the ability to tolerate its aggression. It's about a 7 out of 10. But it depends on what angle you use as to how nasty it is. It calms down a lot for me if I bring my handle in, and so I've discovered that I need that big bite when I am doing my first pass, because I really need to cut down the hairs, and I guess it's that kind of the abundance of hairs that prevents the bite from really damaging my skin, giving me rash or anything. And but then on the second and third passes, and I've been saying this in the videos all month, second and third passes, I bring the handle end in a little closer, and it actually makes the blade stand up a little bit more. And it reduces the pressure on the blade, and it turns it from a 7 to like maybe a 5, which is very, very workable for me. A very good, with this razor, a very good way to cut a lot of hairs and do a good job shaving. I've got some of my best shaves with this razor. So there we go, just a casual little rinse, nothing big. Nothing exhaustive. Just going to get inside the cup and scoop up some of the suds I put in there already. Let's start to smooth it out. Get some of the side lather from the brush there. Back to the mug and get a little bit more. And now just kind of, there we go. You see it looks kind of thin at first, but then as you work it, you can see it kind of coming out the side of the brush, and then you know you're fine, because that is what you then spread around a nice, rich, enjoyable lather. I'll have to figure out after this shave if I want to maybe try again some other time and try for something even richer. I can feel the blade, but it just feels confident, feels safe, feels like I'm not going to have any problems with it. And blade feel is actually really reduced when you bring your handle in, like I was telling you. Pull my shoulder back to tighten up that neck skin a little bit. Just holding the razor lightly. That way if I go over a bump, I don't dig in and it goes over the bump safely. And that is the second pass down. I'm going to rinse. Just a little half rinse, plenty of residual slickness left on my face. And let's see, I wonder if I've got enough, if I can pull enough lather out of my brush here. Let me just scoop up some of the lather that's in my cup. Work it in. I'm going to have to exercise the brush a little bit, and this is when it's good not to have a really rough shave, because you've got to kind of build up that lather again with a scrubbing motion. Something else you don't really have to worry about as much with a bowl. Of course, if you have a bigger brush, then you can have the brush just keep that lather inside of it, instead of this small little Boar here that, I mean, it's 24 millimeter, but he's young, so his splay is not really big. And that painting action kind of stirs up some of the mixing within the brush, brings forth some of the lather you can use. And there we go. Third pass. Cross grain pass. Kind of can be speedy, but still paying attention to my angles and pressure, just enough pressure to kind of hold the blade on the skin. Williams is a super slick soap. Plenty of glide on for this razor. Now, to be a really protective soap, I think you actually do need a little bit more than just that kind of slickness. Don't know exactly what that is yet. A little bit of cushion, I don't know. All right, I'm gonna rinse. And that's a good shave. It's better than yesterday. One of the traits of kind of going on a long haul with a blade that I learned from somebody who has taken one to like 120, that sort of thing, was that just because you get maybe a result that isn't your favorite, not quite as good as maybe the day before, don't pitch the blade. I mean, unless it's pulling and really irritating you or something, don't pitch the blade. And I've had that happen on a few occasions this month where the blade recovered maybe a day or two. Maybe probably just my technique just wasn't right that day. and then you get a better shave. And so there we go. And it's, I mean, these blades are 12 cents each, 13 cents each, 15. And so, I mean, do you really need to make it last 100 shaves all the time? I could see it doing it once just for grins, but they said it wasn't really about the money, obviously, because I mean, they're cheap. But it was like, why throw it away if it's working well? So, that's kind of what they were thinking. A couple of the guys that I was talking to online. So the results are great. Just a few hairs there that are showing any length, better than yesterday. Probably about a quarter of the number of hairs. So I am satisfied. I'm not going to chase down any kind of, I'm not going to risk any kind of irritation or anything like that, because right now I have no irritation. Let's just see how well this alcohol gel balms, lotion, whatever, I'm not getting any stings. I've got a great close shave, almost baby butt smooth on my cheeks, and no stings at all. So my technique was good, and I think it's one of the goals of that it can be for some people with Austere August. Use the same razor every day, and so you end up just kind of learning it in a much more detailed way and being able to have amazing shaves because you increase your technique for that equipment. All right, I'm going to clean up. So one of the details I got before I started this was that Williams usually lasts about a month. Well, I probably have maybe 1 or 2 weeks left of soap in here, and just cleaning off the outside. It's very slippery because Williams is just that way, and so I don't want to drop it. So yeah, the little top part right there is finally starting to kind of allow me to maybe see the bottom. Do I have something I can poke? Yeah, the bottom's right there. So yeah, we're probably just talking about 1.5, 2 weeks of soap left. So, and I duplicated some lathers, and so this is a month of 31 days. I probably ended up with about 35 lathers out of this guy. So I can definitely see maybe a month and a half, almost 2 months of use coming out of a puck of Williams. And of course, some of my lathers were very wasteful because I had not adjusted, hadn't figured out how much loading to do. But it's just got a great scent at this point. It's a citronella scent, but it's very mild. It was stronger in the beginning, but it's so mild now. It's just kind of a clean, fresh, soapy scent to me, at least. Very nice. And then we've already done the post shave. That's pretty cheap. It does have parabens, and so look up and see if you want to try to avoid parabens in your life. Some people think it's a bunch of hype. And I am going to take my my Nacet official record and add a dot right there. 33 uses. How about that? Very happy with it. I'm not feeling any degradation since like the 12th use. Maybe the first 8 uses was something amazing, and I didn't have to do any touch-up passes down here or anything. And so, but after that, it changed a little bit, and I'm kind of plateaued on there. I fluctuated a little bit here and there, but always coming back to kind of a good place. So very cool. So with Williams, this is the puck. This is a new one. Get it at some grocery stores and stuff for $1 or $1.20 or something like that. and it's kind of hollowish on each side, and it's much stronger of citronella there. But because it's a hard soap, you can grate it with a cheese grater and put it into whatever container you want. If you, it's a very bubbly, type thing, so I do recommend some type of a deeper container. So there's that wet, airy lather that you shouldn't use, so it has a chance to stay in the mug. And so one of the main things I learned from Williams this month was I liked how the scent degraded after a few days, and it was enjoyable after like 3 days. Also, that airiness. Number one is a portion of the lather you should not use, because it'll work, but it's kind of uncomfortable unless you have like iron skin. But it's not very protective. It is slick, but not very protective. That's because it's not done being developed yet. Just keep mixing that stuff. You saw just now, when I first put it on my face, it was all airy and bubbly, but I just kept working it, and so the water kept combining with the soap to form something thicker. So just keep going with the mixing, and it will get better. That's the main thing I took away from this Williams. And apparently, it's true that you don't have to do a hot soak or even a soak at all, because I was able to have a pretty nice lather yesterday with just loading with 60 seconds. If you have something to do while you wait for the hot water to come to your tap, and then for a few minutes for the hot soak, if you have a shower to take or stuff to prep, then it can save you time because you can load for less time. But it's something for you to figure out with your logistics and all that. I'm going to keep cleaning up. So since it's been a month of shaves, technically 2 more than a month, but I thought I'd show you the blade. You see the buildup near the edges. This is the bottom of the blade. As it was oriented in the razor. I kept it the same orientation the whole time. Here's the top face that was up toward the end. Excuse me. This surface that you're seeing now was up facing inside this, so it's kind of protected. It's also protected from the soap scum. You can see there's very little, almost no soap scum, especially compared to this guy here. You can just see if I angle it right, you see that discoloration, maybe within the first 4 millimeters away from the edge, 5 millimeters. That discoloration is the soap scum. So, and I haven't washed, just a rinse. I haven't washed this out. I haven't wiped it all month. Just kept it in the razor. And I have not wiped any of this off yet. So we can take a look and see. I don't really see anything of note. Okay, in the corners here, a little bit of kind of soap buildup in all 4 corners. No big deal. I bet I can almost just wipe it away with my hands. So that'll be easy to clean. And here's the base plate, and have not wiped it or anything like that. Look at you see that ring around the middle hole? That ring is what was connected to the handle, and so that shininess that is in that ring, that's the actual finish that you should see everywhere else. But we've got some soap scum right there. See, there we go. Just kind of grind at it a little bit just with my skin, and it starts coming to life. It's just a finely machined piece of equipment. Feels great. It'll last several lifetimes. And so not very much at all. I expected a little bit more buildup in there. Should be pretty easy to restore that back. And be very careful with those blade edges. I mean, this may be the one to take me, maybe achieve 100 if I want. We'll see what happens with it. But so I kind of expected a lot more mess in there. No, I just aired it out between each shave. All right. So that one, a little bit too much water. I got to a great lather. I might like to thicken it up just a hair. So a little bit more shaking of the water, maybe. So I'm just going to let it be. Very enjoyable lather. Every single day, even with lathers that weren't quite right. Great shaves, really. And often I'd have one. A couple of times I'd had one I thought was way too thin, but it ended up giving me just a tremendous result. I guess because it just allowed the blade to get right up next to the skin. I'm not really sure exactly, but it worked out. So a bunch of failures in terms of trying to get to creamy, and that's okay. But in terms of providing myself with a very nice shaving lather pretty much every day, it was pretty much a win all the time this month. So I depended greatly on internet research and YouTube videos from other guys out there who were lathering Williams. Just search online for Williams and you'll find some of those guys. Jonathan Romanoff had a good video that I paid attention to really well. Shaving with Rich had one that was kind of the antithesis of what I'm doing here. I found some great success with Williams, and then some above the Call of Duty, way above the standard success a few times this month. Whereas he tried 4 different ways to lather Williams and was unhappy all the way through. But the golden gem in that one was a commenter. I believe John L. was his handle there in the comments of that video. And he mentioned how he had been using Williams for decades. And even the cost is not a factor. He still goes back to it occasionally just for fun because it's an enjoyable lather. And he gave some generalized procedures for how he lathers. And so I adapted those and started working on those. And I did a few days of that. Had great success. So I owe some credit to him as well. And very nice. It's been a good month. I appreciate the other soaps that I do have, and it'll be fun picking and choosing back again. And I've grown in appreciation for the Dart and this Boar brush, and of course with Williams. Started out kind of rough though, because I was just having a rough time dialing it in to get to creamy, and I was a little discouraged at a couple of points. Just keep working at it, keep removing variables, keep making little changes until you finally get where you're happy. And I did that. So there we go. Hope there was something here, and even in this whole month, that helped you. I think maybe 1 or 2 of the videos aren't online. Check out the descriptions, especially of this video, maybe of the first one, and I'll try to update it with some links to my favorite shaves, so you don't have to watch all the ones that I felt lacking at the end, where it didn't quite get me to where I wanted to be. And check out those descriptions. I may have time to put it on the screen or something like that, but I may not. All right, I've never really done that part before with the videos. August is done. Tomorrow I can just pick whatever I want. How about that? Austere August. I use the same setup. I will keep using that Nacet Blade. We'll see how far it goes. And it's done. Learned a lot. I'm glad I did it. All right. I'm Sugar Daddy Shaves, and I hope there was something here for you. Take care. Good night. Good morning, September.